need to have enough depth to get through the game.
Back in the middle, Michael.
We saw an LSU player try to hurdle a guy on a play last week. Is that something, do you have a preference on how an offensive player handles that situation when faced that kind of decision?
Well, it's not something that I particularly admire personally, but I guess if a guy jumps over somebody and the guy misses the tackle and he keeps on running, it's like everything else we do. When it works, it's good. When it doesn't, it's not good. I do think that a guy puts himself at significant risk of injury when he's airborne like that, with several guys being able to make contact with him. So there's no rule against it, but and I think maybe it's a style of player too, that maybe in some players' case it enhances their ability to be a good player by being able to do that. And there's certainly good enough athletes out there that there are guys that can do it. So I'm not being critical of people that do it. I just say it's not my preferred style.
Back on the right with Ben.
We asked about J.K. Scott after the game. When you combine what he's done this season with the offense having the fewest turnovers in the nation, how difficult is it for teams to drive 70, 80 yards pretty much every time they get the ball against your defense?
Well, I don't know if it's pretty much every time, but I think turnover ratio is really important to being successful, and ours is pretty good right now, and that's something that's going to be critical down the road here, that we can continue to get turnovers and continue to take care of the football. I think special teams is something that the #1 goal is to control vertical field position. So if you combine those two things, I think it does create some advantages in terms of the kind of field position that we get. But I think the most significant effect it had was probably in the last game relative to the results, and where LSU got a lot of drive starts was a real advantage for us defensively.
In the back, though, we saw Bo probably get a little more playing time last week. I'm just wondering how unselfish, because you've got a number of guys back there, how unselfish do those guys need to be in the backfield, and have they been?
Well, they've been really good all season long. I think each guy is focused on when they play to play well, which I think is the most important thing for them. And we want all those guys to have a role and be able to contribute in a way. We didn't have the ball as much in the last game because we didn't sustain drives. We had 6 times, I think, where we were 3 and out, which has been not the case in most games. So we had a few more opportunities probably for the running backs to be able to play. But we would like to play as many guys as possible and have all those guys contribute. And those guys have been really, really good about supporting each other and doing what they need to do to help the team.
Right here with Mark.
When you have a leader go down, do you go to some of the other older guys and try to get them to step up from a leadership standpoint, or do you just let that happen naturally?
Well, I don't think that you can really, just like, you know, I could go to the offense today and say we need to score more points now because we got 2 guys hurt on defense. But in my mind, the offense should have been trying to score every time they got the ball. So what should be different about that? I mean, if I found out that they weren't trying to score when they were out there, I'd be really mad about that. If we had a guy that had leadership quality and it could affect other people on the team and he's not doing it, I would be really, really upset about that. So I'm not sure you can just go say, okay, it's your turn. Leaders are leaders. They impact people. They affect other people. I think it's really important that everybody on the team takes, you know, sort of responsibility for when things get hard. Everybody needs to support each other, and everybody needs to be a good teammate. And some people can impact that more than others, but if we have anybody on our team that has leadership qualities and impact anybody, we would already be encouraging them to do that. And so I don't think that situation changes anything. I don't think you replace it just because it's not there. I think we have leadership on the team, and I think those guys will do a good job for us.
Up front with Dwayne.
Coach, Sean Dion, obviously, what thing did he bring to this defense that will be missed out?
Well, Sean Dion has a tremendous amount of experience. He's a great competitor. He's tough. Probably one of the smarter players that we've had around here in my time being here in terms of being able to make adjustments, being able to make calls, helping other players play better because of his ability to do those types of things. He is a good leader. So there's a lot of things that he does extremely well, and he's a very, very productive player. So he's an all-around good player that's a great teammate, that has been a guy that's a signal caller. So he, by the things that he does out there, he really allows other players to be able to play with more confidence because of his knowledge and experience. And you know, we just have to have our other players on the team need to do that very effectively for us.
Ryder on the left.
How have you expanded, and Coach Dable expanded the route inventory of the receivers over the course of the season, and how much has that allowed Jalen to kind of beat some of those 8-man fronts that you've had?
Well, I think we had, I think, 3 drops in the last game, which you don't want to have any. When you have close coverage and teams that play man-to-man, the catches are going to be in a little closer areas. The throws have to be in a little tighter areas. But we were able to do that. We just didn't finish the plays like we'd like to. But we have a pass offense, and it's not like you add to. It's more like when you go to the restaurant and you get a menu. You have a menu, and you choose what you want to do each week based on what the other team does, based on the coverages that they play. And so you don't just draw up new stuff every week. So we have a menu. I think we can expand that or contract it or use the things that we think are best against what the other team plays. And I think that's what we've tried to do all year long, and that's what gives the players the best chance to execute.
Last 2, Alex and then Joe.
Jalen was sacked 4 times. I guess, after watching film, what do you attribute kind of some of that pressure to? Was that him sitting in the pocket maybe a little longer than normal, or what?
Well, we didn't do a good job of blocking him up front. I don't think we did a good job getting movement in the running game, which has affected our ability and consistency in the running game. And when they created pass situations, we had far too many 3rd and longs. Which you put yourself in situations where people are pinning their ears back, and they have some guys that can rush. They have good speed, and we didn't do a good enough job of blocking them. So that's something that we need to improve on. I can't really fault Jalen for anything that he did or didn't do in the pocket, nor do I think he should have done something differently to avoid those things. I think basically he has to have the time to operate. We had a couple occasions where we had guys really open, and we got sacked very quickly, where we didn't even have a chance to let the play develop. So those are some of the areas that I think we need to definitely improve on.
Last one in the back.
Coach, when it comes to injuries, particularly late in the season like this, beyond the next man up mentality, what do you and your staff do to ensure that that next guy up, particularly when it could be a younger or inexperienced player, can come in and be successful in whatever role is needed?
Well, we just try to coach them and do the best job with them that we can. We try to give them as many repetitions in practice as we possibly can and do the best job to prepare that player to be able to go out there and have confidence when he gets on the field, so he's not thinking, and he can go play fast and have the confidence that he can go out there and do his job well. And I think that's a challenge with any young player or any new player that you give an opportunity to. That's what you'd like for them to be in a position to do when the game comes, and that's certainly what we'll try to do with the guys that we have coming up here at the linebacker spot.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.